Let's be brutally honest. When she starts taking you for granted, let's be brutally honest. Every woman at some point in her life has looked back at a man she once ignored, dismissed, or quietly walked away from and felt a sudden ache in her chest. That moment when she realizes he's not chasing anymore. He's not waiting. He's not the same man she could play emotional games with, and that's when the regret begins. Not because she lost just any man, but because she lost the man who truly saw her. Men rarely understand how this shift happens. You think she moved on because she wanted something better. You assume she outgrew you, got bored, or found someone new. But here's the truth. Most women will never say out loud, she didn't stop caring because she stopped feeling. She stopped caring because she thought you always would. See, women get comfortable with consistency. When a man shows up every time she needs him, when he texts first, forgives fast, and never lets her feel the weight of her mistakes, she begins to believe your love is permanent, and permanence kills urgency. The female mind starts to rewrite the story. He'll always be there. He'll never give up. He loves me too much to leave. That's when she starts taking you for granted, not out of cruelty, but out of psychology. Because comfort in love often breeds blindness, and blindness makes her forget what it took to earn your presence. But here's where the regret is born. The moment you finally walk away, not out of anger, but acceptance. Something inside her wakes up. It's not about missing your messages. It's about missing your energy. The masculine calm she used to feel when you were near. The quiet security of being seen by a man who wasn't trying to impress her. Just understand her. You see, women remember in silence. Long after you've stopped posting, stopped reaching out, stopped reacting, she notices. When she opens her phone and doesn't see your name, when she checks your story and realizes you've moved on without a trace of pain, that's when her regret starts bleeding through her pride. Because in that silence, she hears the truth she ignored. You never needed her validation. You simply wanted her respect. And now that you've stopped giving your attention for free, your absence becomes more powerful than your presence ever was. Men, listen carefully. Women don't regret losing men who begged for them. They regret losing men who loved them deeply, but refused to be disrespected. That regret doesn't show up in words. It shows up in late-night social media checks, in sudden, "Hey, how have you been?" Messages after months of silence, and that nervous smile when she runs into you again and realizes you've changed. You see, she thought she'd always have the upper hand, but now she feels something she can't control. Curiosity. Who did he become without me? Who's giving him the peace I once disrupted? Who's making him laugh the way I used to? That's when she remembers the small things. The tone of your voice when you said her name, the way you looked at her without judgment, the security she felt that no other man could replicate. And it burns because regret doesn't come when she loses you. It comes when she realizes you were the only man who truly understood her soul. And by the time that realization hits, she's standing in the same place where she once took you for granted. Only this time, you're not standing there waiting. Men, that's your turning point. When you stop chasing validation and start protecting your energy, the same women who dismissed you begin to see you. Not because you changed for them, but because you evolved without them. They, the silent growth of her regret and emotional realization, start regretting, not appreciating your quiet loyalty, your steady heart, your masculine patience. And that's when they realize something cruel, beautiful. You were never the one who wasn't enough. They were simply too blind to recognize your worth when it was standing right in front of them. There's a strange thing about regret. It doesn't announce itself. It grows quietly, like a shadow behind her smile. At first, she doesn't even recognize it. She tells herself she's fine, that losing you was the right decision, that she's healing or focusing on herself. But deep down, something feels off because the truth is, she doesn't miss you right away. She misses the version of herself that existed when you were around. The woman who felt safe to be soft. The woman who could let her guard down and still feel desired. And that realization, it creeps up on her slowly. See, when she first walked away, she felt empowered. That false confidence women get when they believe they've made a bold choice. She told her friends, you were too available, too emotional, too invested. She needed space. She needed excitement. She needed something different. But excitement fades, and space can feel like emptiness when the wrong man fills it. That's when she starts comparing, not intentionally, but instinctively. Every new man she meets gets measured against the memory of you, how you looked at her, how you listened without interrupting, how you didn't just want her body, you wanted her peace. And no matter how much she tries to convince herself you were replaceable, she can't escape that emotional fingerprint you left behind. Because real masculinity, calm, confident, grounded energy, doesn't fade from memory, it echoes. She sees your reflection in moments she least expects. When another man raises his voice and she remembers how you stayed patient. When someone lies to her and she remembers your honesty even when it hurt. When she's out with friends but still feels lonely because you used to make silence feel like connection. That's when her regret deepens. It's not just about missing you. It's about realizing she underestimated you. She thought you'd always be easy to reach. She assumed your heart was hers on demand. But when you pulled back, when you started focusing on your life, your fitness, your peace, your goals, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Jealousy, not jealousy of another woman, but jealousy of your independence. You became the man she wished she had the patience to keep. That's the paradox of female psychology most men don't see. Women crave security, but they chase mystery. They want emotional safety, but they respect emotional control. And when you mastered both by walking away without bitterness, you became the one she could never fully forget. Her regret turns into obsession, not the kind you see in movies. Quiet obsession. The kind where she stalks your posts, but never likes them. The kind where she watches your stories just to see if you're happy. The kind where she texts, "I miss us." Not because she wants to rebuild, but because she wants to know she still matters. And here's where your strength as a man truly gets tested. Because when a woman regrets losing you, she'll do subtle things to pull you back in. Not out of love, but out of fear. Fear that you've evolved beyond her reach. She'll drop your name in conversation. Post nostalgic songs, randomly react to your stories. All these small signals are her way of saying, "I'm thinking of you," without saying it. But this is where most men fail. They take her regret as an invitation to return. Don't. Because the man she regrets losing isn't the one who comes running back. It's the one who keeps walking forward, knowing that her recognition came too late. That's when the balance shifts completely. She becomes the one who can't stop thinking about you. She becomes the one who replays moments wondering why she let you slip through her fingers. She becomes the one haunted by the simple truth. She thought you'd always wait, and you didn't. And that's the kind of regret that doesn't fade because it's tied to identity. She has to live with the moment she realizes you've changed forever, the fact that she had something rare and she was careless with it. It's not revenge when you move on. It's evolution and your silence, your peace, your indifference. That's what teaches her the lesson life couldn't. You can't take a good man for granted and expect him to stay good for you forever. Men, understand this. When you choose self-respect over validation, when you replace reaction with restraint, when you build instead of beg, you become unforgettable. Because women may fall for charm, but they regret losing character. And your character, your calm, your strength, your self-control becomes the ghost that follows her through every failed relationship after you. There's a specific moment, a quiet, devastating one, when a woman who once took you for granted realizes she no longer knows who you are. Not because you've become someone else, but because you finally became the man she thought you never could. It usually happens long after she's convinced herself she's over you. She's moved cities, switched jobs, maybe even started seeing someone new. Life looks normal from the outside. But one small moment, one unexpected reminder breaks that illusion. Maybe she sees your photo online, maybe a mutual friend mentions your name, or maybe she just stumbles across your profile one night out of nothing but curiosity. And what she sees stops her heart cold. You're not sad anymore. You're not reaching out. You're not the man who used to wait for her text, or second-guess his worth, or explain himself just to keep her close. You're different. Your energy feels stronger. Your confidence sharper. Your silence more powerful. And that's when the regret becomes real, because now she's not just remembering who you were, she's witnessing who you've become without her. And in that moment, her pride meets her punishment. See, when a woman walks away from a man she once believed she controlled, she expects him to crumble. She expects his world to revolve around the loss. She expects him to chase, to plead, to prove his worth again and again. But when you don't, when you grow instead of break, it rewires something deep inside her. She realizes you weren't emotionally weak. You were just emotionally invested. You weren't desperate. You were devoted. You weren't clingy. You cared. And she destroyed something sacred because she mistook vulnerability for neediness. Now she watches you from afar, and every small sign of your progress feels like a silent message. You don't have power over me anymore. That's what stings the most, the loss of control. Because women don't regret the breakup. They regret the moment they realize they can no longer influence you. You used to react to her silence. Now you respond with indifference. You used to defend yourself when she disrespected you. Now you don't even acknowledge it. You used to need closure. Now you create your own peace. That's when she begins to crave your energy again, not out of love, but out of hunger for what she once had, your attention, your validation, your devotion. because in her world, that energy is rare. And once she's tasted it, no other man can fully replace it. She'll start testing you again. A random text. Hey, I saw something that reminded me of you. A subtle comment. You've changed. A late night confession. I miss how things used to be, but understand this. She doesn't miss the relationship. She misses the version of herself that felt significant when you loved her. The irony, the man she's craving now is the man she created by breaking him. The heartbreak forced you to evolve, to build your boundaries, your purpose, your peace. You stopped pouring into someone who only took and started becoming someone who attracts. And that's the shift she can't handle. That you no longer need her to feel whole. Men, this is where your strength gets tested again. Because she will try to reconnect not because she's ready to love you right, but because she wants to feel relevant again. And if you let her back in, even slightly, you'll destroy the version of yourself that she now regrets losing. Don't become available to someone who only values you once you've healed. You see, her regret is her lesson, not your invitation. The version of you she misses no longer exists. He died when you realized your worth wasn't measured by her attention. He disappeared when you stopped fighting for someone who wouldn't fight for you. And he was reborn the moment you stopped chasing love and started becoming it. That's the man she sees now. Confident, calm, unbothered. The man who used to overthink now moves with purpose. The man who used to wait for her texts now leaves messages unopened. The man who once feared losing her now fears losing himself again. And that's when she starts to spiral. Because she realizes something she'll never admit. She didn't lose a boyfriend. She lost a man who genuinely cared about her soul. She didn't walk away from drama. She walked away from loyalty. She didn't end a story. She ended a chapter she'll never get back. She'll tell herself, you changed. And she's right. But not in the way she thinks. You changed from the man who needed love to the man who chooses peace. That's the kind of transformation no woman forgets, because when her regret turns into admiration and you finally win every time she meets someone new, a small part of her mind compares him to you, and the comparison always fails. You became the mirror that reflects what she lost, and that reflection haunts her. Time is a strange teacher. It doesn't always heal. Sometimes it reveals. And for a woman who once took a man for granted, time becomes the mirror that shows her everything she refused to see when she had him. Months pass, maybe years. Her life keeps moving. New people, new places, new promises. But deep down, the same pattern repeats. No one gives her the same peace. No one makes her feel the same safety. No one holds her with that quiet certainty that you once did. And slowly, her regret turns into something deeper, something she'll never admit out loud, admiration. Because as she watches you evolve, she begins to understand something painful and beautiful at the same time. You didn't become better to impress her. You became better because losing her forced you to meet yourself. That's when she starts to see the truth she ignored. That your love wasn't weakness, it was leadership. That your patience wasn't passivity, it was power. That your loyalty wasn't naivety, it was depth. You see, when a man finally chooses himself after being taken for granted, he doesn't just heal, he ascends. He becomes the kind of man that women respect. Men look up to, and life starts rewarding. And that's what haunts her now, because she used to have a front row seat to your becoming, and she walked away before the final act. Now she watches from a distance, realizing she left in the middle of your evolution. Back then, she saw potential. Now she sees proof. And that proof burns more than any goodbye ever could. She sees your confidence in every photo you post. Not the look at me confidence, but the calm, grounded presence of a man who no longer needs attention to feel valuable. She hears your voice in your new boundaries. Not angry, not bitter, just firm. She notices how women now respect you more, how your energy attracts what used to run from you. That's when admiration replaces regret, because now, even if she wanted to come back, she knows she can't. Not because you hate her, but because you've outgrown her. It's poetic justice. You didn't get revenge. You didn't have to prove anything. You just healed, leveled up, and let your growth speak louder than your pain. That's real power. Not chasing her to see your worth, but walking away until she has to face it. Understand this, men. When you start loving yourself the way you once loved her, you become magnetic because you're no longer trying to be chosen. You're choosing. That shift changes everything. The same woman who once left your messages on scene now hesitates before texting you. The same woman who once made you doubt yourself now replays your old conversations trying to decode what she missed. The same woman who once walked away casually now wonders how she ever thought she could replace you. And here's the truth that hits her hardest. She didn't lose you because you weren't enough. She lost you because she treated your loyalty like a guarantee, and it wasn't. Now, you've become the man she tells her friends about, the one she messed up with, the one she should have been more patient with, the one who treated her right, but the timing wasn't right. But deep down, she knows it wasn't timing. It was her immaturity, her inability to recognize real from familiar. Because real doesn't chase, real doesn't beg, real walks away quietly and rebuilds stronger. You see, that's the difference between regret and admiration. Regret says, I want him back. Admiration whispers, he became everything I knew he could be without me. And that realization changes how she sees all men after you. Now she looks for pieces of you in every new connection. Your calm, your depth, your quiet humor, your stability. But no matter how hard she looks, no one matches the energy of the man who loved her purely and left her peacefully. Because when you walk away with grace, you leave a scar she can't cover with pride. And that scar becomes her reminder that sometimes losing a good man isn't just losing love, it's losing her mirror. So to every man listening, don't ever regret being good to the wrong woman. She may never say it, but one day she'll realize what she lost when she lost you. And that realization will echo in every empty conversation, every shallow relationship, every lonely night where she wonders why no one makes her feel like you did. That's the power of self-respect. That's the quiet revenge of every man who refused to let pain define him. And that's the ending every man deserves. Not validation, not closure, but freedom. Question for you. Have you ever had a woman tell you years later that she finally understands what she lost? Comment your story below. You never know whose heart your experience might heal tonight. If this resonated with you, like the video, subscribe, and share it with a friend who's rebuilding his peace.